Hello, everybody. Welcome back to FYI. Always, it's a pleasure to be here and talk to you guys. So, today I'm going to be talking about something that is, has generated quite a lot of buzz. It's just a word, a one liner, okay? And I guess you've probably heard about it, or maybe somebody has spoken to you about it before, or something like that. I'm going to be talking about adulting. Yeah, that's right. Adulting. Adulting is a word that was gotten from the word, obviously, adult. Makes sense? Of course it does. Now, when that word first came out, and this is not too long ago, it got a lot of people talking, especially like lexicologists and, linguists and all of them. They were talking and talking like, what is this word? Is it a noun? Is it a verb? What exactly it is? So first of all, they qualified the word as a noun and then moved from calling it a noun to becoming a verb. It was some sort of like a cultural, pop phenomena of some sort, with people wondering what exactly it is to define and call this terminology. For me, I would define it as a concept. It's a concept that has to do with the fact that, okay, have you reached a particular age, and what are the things you're doing at this particular age? So it's as simple as that. So if I want to give a definition of what the word adulting is, I would simply say adulting is simply doing what adults do. Stuff like having a job, having your regular 9 to 5, having to pay your rent or build a house or buy a car. Just typical stuff that adults do. Okay, typical example, somebody could say, hey, how about your friend Chima? Chima is really doing good at adulting. You get my point. So in that regard, you could call it a verb because that's an action word. So simply put, it's just doing stuff that adults do. And now this terminology or concept, like I would call it, was particularly made for millennials. Who are the millennials? Millennials are people who fall under the generation Y. Yeah, these are people who are born from the early 1980s to the late 2000s. So if you fall under that category, yeah, like myself, I fall under that category. Know that, yeah, you're part of generation Y and you are a millennial. Now, you might think that, oh, it's hippie and it's fun and it's all of that stuff because, hey, they couched out a concept for us. But then again, I'm looking at it and thinking about it critically. And I think it's some sort of, downgrade, because why do they need to coin out a certain word for the millennials, and it has to do with adulting or adulthood, when it's supposed to be a regular, normal thing that everybody ought to do, especially if you're in that, bracket of being born within the early 80s and the late 2000s. So I actually feel it's derogatory in a whole lot of ways. Now, let me explain why. In the time past, we had our parents who would get married early. You see them get married like 20. My mom, for instance, had me when she was just 22. They were doing stuff. They would, get their houses, build their houses way, way, way earlier than we did in this our generation. Right now, obviously, I'm above 22. Not yet married, So the millennials are actually not doing things with the speed our parents and our grandparents did. Of course, times are changing. A lot of things are evolving and revolving. Yeah, people in this generation are more tech savvy, they are more internet friendly, there's way more exposure, the world is like in the palm of their hands and all of that stuff. But back in the day, they didn't have all of these things, but life seemed to have been easier. Less technology, but everything seemed to have been easier. In quotes, our parents and our grandparents seem to have achieved way more in that time than we are achieving, and at this rate. Referring to that, to adulting as a word being coined out for the millennials is really not, a compliment if you ask me. It's more like a downgrade. It's something that's a bit derogatory. So now, why am I talking about adulting? Yes, adulting is a term that sounds very fun. It's a terminology that sounds very hip. Hip is a concept that I like, but we as millennials need to make the best out of it. Don't pride in the fact that, okay, our parents had this or they had that and they were achieving and doing all this stuff, way before us. Even though, yes, I know that this generation is also achieving a whole lot, and just changing basically what the narratives have been. But we also have the opportunity to also do right in our own terms, okay? So let us do the needful. Let us do the needful. Let us keep pushing. Let us know that, okay, there's nothing that's stopping us back. Whatever our parents did, whatever our grandparents did, we could also do same. We could possibly even do it earlier than they did, okay? So let's not use this as an excuse to be nonchalant. Let's not use this as an excuse to be laid back that, okay, I'm part of the millennials, I'm part of the generation Y, so I'm just going to chill. No, do normal things. I heard a story of someone who was talking about his daughter who just turned 21, you know, and she was so proud that she was able to move to a different apartment, pay the bills, and do stuff like that. So she was talking to her parents about it, and the parents gave her this look, and it was like, that's a normal thing, you know. But for people in this generation, it's like a major achievement. Yes, it's an achievement, but it's a bit regular, especially like to our parents and to our grandparents. Okay, so let's not use that terminology of adulthood or adulting, you know, to foster being laid back or to foster laziness. Let's do the best we can. This episode is really important because if we, who are part of the generation Y, carry on stuff like this, then imagine what the generation Z would do. If we get to this point where we are so lazy, we don't want to, you know, have to pay all those bills, or we don't want to have to cook, or we don't want to have to do certain things that adults typically should do, then imagine what the generation coming after us is going to do. Case in point, Generation Z is going to be crazy. So we need to sit up. We need to know that, hey, yeah, it might be a whole lot of things that has made life way more complicated. You know, machines, robots are everywhere doing stuff for us. But if we don't sit up and do certain things that we are supposed to do as adults, then it might become a problem, particularly for the generation that's coming up after us. Let's not take it as too much of a big deal. Those are regular things that adults do. So let's do those things not just for our sake, but for the sake of the generation that is coming, even the generation that's yet unborn. Because believe it or not, our actions right now are what are the things that are going to lay the foundation for these people that are going to come. And if we don't lay the right foundation for them, only God knows what will become of them. So hey, I'm talking to all of you out there. Yeah, you are doing a pretty good job at adulting. I mean, it's not easy. You know, I was one of those people who was in such a hurry to grow up when I was little. I wanted to grow up. I wanted to have my independence. I wanted to have my freedom, you know, have the right and ability to go in and out as I please. But then I now finally became an adult and started adulting, and I realized that it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. It is not a bed of roses. You literally have to fight for everything. You need to work hard. You know, if I had my way, I'll just travel around the world and just, you know, sit back and just take like margaritas or something on the beach and just live the baby boy life. But, you know, I really cannot do that. As much as I can, I will. But I also know that I have to work, and I have to provide for myself, and I have to also provide for other people. So it's really not that easy. So kudos to everybody who is out there, you know, all the millennials who are out there doing amazing things. My point is we can do better. My point is we can set our goals higher. My point is we can dream even bigger. You know, there's always something out there to do. There's always something bigger that can be achieved. If you've achieved 100 today, you can achieve 1,000 tomorrow. So this is just me encouraging all of us, myself inclusive, that hey, let's just keep at it. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep adulting. Let's keep doing big stuff. But there's always an opportunity to do better, not just for us, but for the generation that is yet to come. You get what I mean? All right, so thank you guys for being with me through today's episode on adulting. It's not an easy feat, but it's something that I know for real we all can do. Till we meet next time, remember, make somebody smile today because it doesn't cost you anything. I love you for watching.